Hello there. Hello there. Hello.
The horses are resting.
Prices have never been better.
Alright. Would have been on earlier Dark Reaper, but stuff came up through the day. So it's the first time I was able to get on.
Did you see that orc? I wonder how long he has been imprisoned there.
I find it inconceivable that any Oldma could have called this blight their home.
missed quite a sight. When I laughed at him, the beast actually growled.
The Alderman has tremendous insight at the least I have adequate accommodation.
The battle reeves inform me that we will be ready to march on Sentinel within a few weeks.
Oh, hello. I was just tidying up. This was our camp before the elves came. Well, it was Lady Laurent's camp. Oh, I shouldn't say our anymore. Oh, goodness, what will I do? She fired me. Because it's all my fault. The Aldmeri. Lady Laurent sent me through the portal to investigate. When the elves saw me, I ran and led them to the portal. So now she hates me. Please, I beg you, will you help me get back in her good graces? Praise you, praise you. I'm trying to gather all her things, but her tools are scattered out in the ruins, and those are her most important possessions. If you'll get the tools for me, I just know she'll forgive me. I just know it. There's one more thing you should know. Lady Laurent hired this thuggish Tavian fellow. I believe she already asked him to recover her tools. You should speak to him up on the ramparts. Tell him we have it taken care of. Because he's a brute, and I need to be the one to give her the tools. If I can't make her forgive me, she'll just leave me here, and then what will I do? This is my only chance.
To think I once enjoyed the feel of the sun on my skin? Not anymore.
I fear I will never be able to.
You certainly made short work of those elves. There seem to be few odd skeletons down here. No problem for you, I'm sure. Now, I assume you found the old tome in my camp? Thank you very much. Fortunately, I can translate the ancient Iliad, and that should tell us how to close the portal. It's through this door right behind me. The problem is that it's locked, but it appears that it's controlled by a switch deeper in the ruins. Would you be a dear and find the switch? If only I could have someone like you around full time. If you'll get the switch, that will give me time to study up whatever words I need to speak to close the portal. Once you get it opened, I'll just go on in, so meet me in the portal room.
Their levels should be the same as mine. Yesterday was kind of weird, because I think the quest only scaled down to 43, and that's why it was weird.
did you? For centuries. It pains me. Ha! Nuralanya, she was called in her high elven tongue. She was just Nura when we were together. I could deny her nothing. I was enthralled, a slave madly in love with his master. Our secret was eventually exposed, and the elves were furious. Our love was an abomination in their eyes. They decided execution was too kind a punishment for our crime. I was here, and she was there, to see one another, but not able to hear, or touch, or hold. Yet even that torment was insufficient for their retribution. The elves wove a spell to extend my life and prolong my torment. Elves live a long time, but not forever. I sat and watched as Nura slowly grew old and died. Sometime after that, the Regatta came and slaughtered the other elves. But even with them dead, the spell held strong. It was the Regatta, the warrior wave. The warriors sought vengeance. The swords of Yakuta passed through these halls, and the High Elves were washed away. They would have killed me, were it not for this spell. Instead, I watched, safely ensconced within this prison, as my captors were slaughtered. Many centuries passed before I learned who the warriors were, or from whence they came. A foreign people had arrived on these shores. They came from a distant land. Yakuta, it was called. Yakutan warriors set out to conquer the new world they found. Singers named them the Regatta. It pains me to speak of the past. Would you force me to relive such bitter memories? Fine. What would you ask of me? It was the Regatta. Fine. What would... If I knew, don't you think I would have escaped by now? All I know is the tiles must be used in the right order, and the order was determined by time, whatever that means. Amateurs like yourself have tried to release me. Fools, all of you. You'd have a better chance of becoming the next Emperor. If I knew, don't you think I would have escaped by now? All I know is the tiles must be used in the right order, and the order was determined by time, whatever that means.
Day was really busy, Dark Reaper.
doing that? By the bloody fangs of Moloch! By the stench of Moloch's gaping maw! What have you done? How can this be? I'm free? I should thank you, but I don't even think this is what I wanted. It's been so long since my life was my own. This is all I know. I don't want to leave.
York I know and love would never utter such words.
Nura, is it really you? It's been so long.
We've suffered enough of this curse. By the grace of Mara, I've been allowed to take you beyond this mortal realm.
Finally, a release from the suffering of this world.
Come, my love. We have the rest of eternity to be together.
Taco? How do you pronounce it? All right, I think I've got it. Mala Alu Takeo. Well, that takes care of that now, doesn't it? I am too. Now. If you would, though, I still would prefer to keep this quiet. I do have a reputation to uphold, you know.
Healing sunburns and scorpion bites? My talents are wasted here.
I find it inconceivable that any Oldma could have called this blight their home.
The Aldmer had tremendous foresight to place the portal here.
You're the one who helped Lady Laurent clear out the elves. What are you still dawdling about for? Is it Stibbons? A bootless coward. He's hoping Lady Laurent will forgive him for starting all this. Did he? I'm surprised he could get that out through the whimpering and whining. Lady Laurent already has someone to recover her tools, and you would recover them and give Stibbons the credit? Just following orders. Even before this, Stibbons couldn't keep up, so Lady Laurent hired me. I was just getting a bird's eye view before getting to work. I'd say, though, if you were going to save Stibbons the trouble, why not help me instead? Well, for one thing, I'm better looking. For another, I'm actually getting paid. Stibbons was always just a glorified slave. Help me get the tools and I'll cut you in. It could be worse. Lady Laurent pays well and she's got a pretty ambitious travel schedule. So I'm getting to see places I had never dreamed of. Can't say this desert's one of the highlights, though. Did he? I'm just following orders. Even before this, Stibbons couldn't keep up, so well, for one thing, don't think too long. I'll go down there and get the tools myself if I have to. They're in backpacks. I was wondering if you were going to ask that. Yeah, I snatched up a few tool bags earlier, but there's no reason for me to give them to you, is there? I suppose if you want to lug around the extra weight, I won't complain. Once you've got them all, though, just remember to bring them back to me, not Stibbons. Don't think too long. I'll go down there and get the tools myself if I have to. They're in backpacks, by the way. I bet Stibbons didn't even tell you that.
Did you see that orc? I wonder how long he's been imprisoned there.
Foresight to have placed the portal here.
Who knew the desert would be so empty?
I watched you rummaging around out there. All right, it's time to get paid then. Give me the tools and I'll go ahead and give you half of what Lady Laurent promised. I think that's being pretty generous of me. You're not. Tell me.
Well, I think I've praised the 8. Ha! That sneaky Tamian fellow sure would be surprised.
The Aldmer had tremendous foresight to have placed the portal here.
I find it inconceivable that any Aldmer could have called this blight their home.
Sentinel within a few weeks.
They will pay for what they have done. Satyrkar's wrath, Wayfarer. Unless you want to wade through an army of undead, go no further. These dogs, the Withered Hand, they seized control of Tuatha's throne, and now they are raising the consecrated dead. How is this even possible? The Anseh wards, stolen. There is no way. The Impervious Vault. How? This does explain how they raise the consecrated dead, though. It also explains why Tuwaka is so angry. He speaks to me. He says the temple must be cleansed, and now. Oh, Tuwaka will do the cleansing. We must only clear the way. If you will help me light the sacred braziers, Tuwaka will send his breath to help us destroy the withered hand and return the dead to the sand. For each direction the wind blows, there is a brazier. Light the first 3 and meet me at the west brazier. I will light that one. Then we will light the central brazier together and soon see Uwafa and his withered hand destroyed. We do not know. There is no record of these defenses ever being used. All I can recall is reading that it is supposed to help cleanse the temple and return the dead to their rest. Uncertainty is part of the fun, though, right? This man is very dangerous. He is the leader of these withered hand dogs. He offered me the chance to leave peacefully. I wanted to protect my fellow priests, but we could not surrender Tuwaka's sacred ground without a fight. Tuwaka is the caretaker of the far shores. We will all visit him one day. The throne is the final resting place of our honored ancestors. Our heroes have been buried here for centuries. It is terrible that their rest has been disturbed.
This is not good. Not good at all. I've killed a skeleton or 2 in my day, but this is worse than that. We are going to need more Ashaba. You? I'm pretty good with faces, but I don't know yours. You must have just joined then. Either way, welcome to the tribe. It's good that you're here. Do you understand why I am concerned? Some of the greatest heroes in history are buried here. Kings, queens, legendary warriors. If they've risen, it is Ashaba duty to kill them, and that's not going to be easy. There is. I maintain vigil here to ensure that certain ancient heroes, let's just say, if they're raised, that's a problem. With what's happened here, I need someone to check their graves. If they're up and about, they need to be put down. Thank you. This is no small thing, I ask, and I appreciate you stepping up. The 3 graves I need you to check belong to Armage Arena, Yokita Razul, and Queen Afsar. They changed the course of history. They deserve to rest now. I'll mark the graves' locations on your map. I'd go with you, but I have to watch and ensure they don't slip by. There are other Ashaba who can join you, though. You want one skilled in swordplay, or one who's adept at restoration magic? Very smart. I've rarely seen her equal with a blade. Let her keep the heroes occupied, and perhaps you can use magic to send them back to the sand. There are many heroes buried here, to be sure, but these 3 are the ones Ashaba's scholars are most concerned about. They were extremely powerful in life, and scholars fear they could be extremely dangerous in death. Rena was an Arminger in the Order of Diagna, who died in the final days of the Siege of Orsinium. She was born in the siege camp there and spent her entire 26 years fighting the orcs. They say it was her sacrifice that brought us victory. Razul fought alongside Divad Hunding, leading the regatta to conquer Alakir. When the Natotembu and the Yokuden nobility came later, Razul made himself Yokita to cement the power of the regatta. Some call him the first forebear. Yes, she seized the throne the ancient way. Late in the First Era, the king died with no heir and the nobles squabbled over the throne. Afsar solidified her rule by killing the opposition. Despite its bloody start, her reign was very peaceful.
I'll be back shortly, okay? Gonna end the stream for now and then come back. Been a long day, so I feel kind of tired, but I'll be right back.